I walked in the living room. I looked my wife in the face and I said, honey, I want to make content for a living. That's all I want to do. I want to be a content creator. And she's like, okay, let's do it.
What's going on? Welcome back to the Mastermind Thinks Podcast. Yo, today I got a very special guest, and I'm honored because I've been on his shows a bunch of times, multiple different shows, and never have I ever had him on mine. I don't even think I've seen him be a guest on another podcast. So for all you guys that have been asking him to come on your podcast, guess what? I got him. You didn't. My man, Billy Thorpe. What's going on, bro? How you doing, man?
What's up, Chris? Man, I'm doing good. I'm hanging out. I'm here in the studio. I'm having fun. And yeah, dude. Yeah, you've been on all my shows multiple times, and I basically had to beg Chris to be on his, so I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, right. No begging involved. He was like the first one to fill it out. He was like, yeah, I got you.
I had to threaten to like never talk to him again. Like, get me on your show or we're not friends anymore, Chris. So no, it's fun, man. I appreciate it.
I was waiting for you to come back to the States, man. I couldn't have you on my show with some, whack internet. So I needed to get you back over here, man.
No, that's true. I almost stopped podcasting because the internet was so bad.
And that should be a YouTube video. The time I almost quit podcasting.
Move to Puerto Rico. It'll be fun, but there's no good internet there.
There's no good internet. It makes me question all these laptop lifestyle people. They're like, oh, move to Thailand. And I'm like, but the internet though, is it really? And they're like, no, we're just checking email. We're not live streaming or anything. So
yeah, dude, they're all copywriters. They're just all copywriters. They send in Word docs.
Bro, that's hilarious. Oh man, real quick, tell the guests, man, tell everybody who you are, like how you got started in this game, creator life, a little bit about yourself, man.
Yeah, man. So my name is Billy Thorpe. I'm a podcaster, live streamer, Amazon creator. I'll narrow it down to that. And I really got in this game about, 3.5 years ago. I was really interested, actually, Chris, in saltwater fishing, and I moved to North Carolina and had no idea about it. And I thought, you know what, it'd be cool to start a live show about saltwater fishing or whatever. And I was using video and audio a little bit for my screen printing business that I owned at that time. And then I started this live saltwater fishing show, and fast forward, ended up turning that show into a podcast, selling that show. And then started another business style podcast where, it's all audio and video as well. So that's kind of fun and really just got that itch, man. And then, way before that though, I worked at a nonprofit and I did all their video production, whatever audio, video stuff they had going on, but I was never in front of the camera. I was always behind the camera pushing buttons. And so it was really cool to be on this side of it as the host of the shows. And then, yeah, man, I just got the itch and have done a few different things since then. I've done another saltwater fishing show that I currently have right now. And then I have a Creating Daily show where I go starting actually in July of 2022 this year as we're recording this, going to be going back live again a couple times a week. We're not going daily. We're going a couple times because I got to focus on Amazon. I got to focus on a couple other things. So every day is a ton of work, ton of fun, but a ton of work. So we're working on that, man. But yeah, got a few things in the. I'm just crazy. I just want to make content and figure out how to get paid to do it. So that's what I'm doing.
Bro, that's so cool because I think the cool thing about that is that's how we met, right? We met on. Like, I can't, be perfectly honest, I can't remember the exact moment we met. I know we met on Clubhouse.
Chris, I know what you said to me the first moment we met. What are you talking about?
What? Well, that's
I'm just kidding.
Oh, look, you said it, and I was like, well, I was saying the same thing to everybody. Hey, join Amazon Live. That's what I thought that's what you were trying to say.
I think you probably said, hey, what's up, man? What do you think about this app? That's what, because back then, dude, Clubhouse was like, it was foreign world to everyone. We were just like, so you can hear me? Yeah. Can you hear me? Yeah, this is cool. This is like a walkie-talkie. So yeah, man, I think it's how we met, was on Clubhouse, just hanging out in radio and podcast rooms. That's what it was.
Bro, that's so cool, man. I think that was something cool because I don't even remember. I guess that was 2020 at this point, right? Because that came out and everything, yeah. And so, wow, bro, I didn't even realize we've known each other that long. That's pretty insane.
Yeah, because dude, I met you before I moved to Puerto Rico. I spent nearly a year in Puerto Rico. So yeah, it's definitely been a year and a half plus that we were on the app. And yeah, man, and that was a thing too. I didn't even know what Clubhouse would turn into, what social audio would turn into. Actually, a friend of mine was like, "Hey, you should check out this app. You like doing podcasts, you like doing live stuff. This is live audio." And I'm like, "All right, cool." And dude, I've met some amazing people on that platform, like you and Monty, and I've connected a little deeper with some of the Ecamm community over on that platform. And now I think it's like, but it's yeah, dude, it's been good to me for the last couple of years. It's been fun.
Yo, that's funny. That's actually what I was about to ask you. I was wondering your thoughts on that, right? Because you again jumped into the podcast space, and the people that I know that know Billy, they know you as the podcaster, and they're like, man, that dude, he's on that game. And so obviously, like you said, social audio kind of runs right into that. And I know you've tried a couple other apps because we've been on there joking around and messing around, but like none of the other ones stuck. And I kind of wonder like what your thoughts are on what does it even look like? What do you think of Clubhouse going forward, or something even in that space? Does it matter anymore? Or
Man, it's kind of funny because I think Clubhouse, it's not the first audio app, right, where people can jump on and talk to each other, talk to strangers. I mean, there's been a bunch of different platforms, and I used to be on one called Stereo that started out very similar, but it's more of a one-on-one conversation, and then people could like drop voicemails, and that was my first like social audio experience, and then it turned into like games and all this kind of stuff. And now I look at Clubhouse. Clubhouse basically launched during the pandemic. I sparked off. They, in my opinion, they should have took the $4 billion deal from Twitter and moved on. But I think certain people are going to stay there. I think it's with any platform. Stuff blows up and then it levels out, and then it's like, okay, now how do we sustain or scale or whatever? But oftentimes I see these companies that come in and they just spark off. It's like a flash in the pan, unfortunately for them. And I think there's a lot of features now that they have that if they would have had for content creators when they launched, which they don't know that because they don't really know what we want, they would probably be in a lot better place. So, because I do think the replays feature over there is like phenomenal. It's nice when I get on there and I'm doing a room and I'm like, blah, 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 blah. And then it's like, cool, it lives there. However, that kind of cuts down the live engagement that I've seen as well. So, and I don't know all the algorithmic things, and I don't pretend to. I just get on there, do my thing, but I haven't been on in a while, and I just haven't created. I think as a creator, you got to kind of figure out like where do you want to create content, and you got to create content for those platforms, and it just is. For me, it's a lot of work to go in there and host rooms and host other people, and
it is.
And I'm like, hey, I'm just not that guy to do that all the time. So
with you saying that, what is your favorite? I mean, so again, I know you as a podcaster, and I know we got into the live stream stuff, but what is your favorite platform right now creating content, man?
Man, I'm having a lot of fun on Amazon, just because I just got back to the States, so I'm able to do some brand deals, I just got a UPS guy just dropped me off a bunch of products, and I'm now going, oh, I need like a production schedule because I got a lot of stuff to do. So that's been, that's been my favorite thing. I think my original, heartbeat was for live streaming. I love live. Maybe I'm just a narcissistic person, like look at myself in the monitor all day. But I really do love live streaming, and I love consuming live streams. So I think that live interaction, the live video where I can see the response of the person, not just hear the response, is one of my favorite things to do right now, for sure, is to go live. It's just, that thing where you're like, I'm going to vomit, but I know I got to do this. Like I get that feeling, I get that sense of urgency every time before I go live. And I just love that. I think I just love that rush of that feeling of like, this could all just break and fall apart, but I'm going to do it anyway. It's kind of fun. So I'm a weirdo.
Yeah. No, that's hilarious though. Cause like people, dude, I was like, the way I got on Amazon Live was by accident. Cause I jumped into a YouTube course, and I was like, yeah, I got to get on this YouTube thing. And then what I realized is I wasn't great at creating content for like, I just didn't get it outside of live. Live, I get it because I'm just like, look, we're just going to do a thing and something's going to happen. And
you don't know, and you don't know what that is. It's like, It's like, oh, dude, this could be awesome. There could be 100 people that watch this, or there could be me talking to myself, which is where I find myself at a lot.
Yeah.
And so, and a lot of people don't know this about me, but I used to be a youth pastor
Mm.
for several years. And that's how if you want to be better at talking to yourself and no audience, start a youth ministry. And I just sat in front, 50 kids would be there, and you're talking, they don't even care. They're just like staring at you, this dead stare. And so I'm used to it. So it's pretty good. Trained me
Dude,
well.
that's the best, man. And look, you just brought it up why I think I'm getting better now at being able to shoot the videos, because on the front end of Amazon Live, there's nobody there. So you're
Yeah.
literally talking to
Yeah.
yourself for like 2 hours, like, all right, well,
They are there. It's kind of weird. Like you and I went live last night, and there's, I probably had 15 people or so on my stream. I'm sure you probably had more. And it was, dude, nobody was hitting the chats. And I'm like, well, I guess they're getting it. I guess we're such good presenters that it's like watching live TV and they don't have to ask questions or whatever. But yeah, man, it's a lot of fun, dude. I do think there is that we, it's like podcasting. You can't. Now, I've never done this. I've always been live to drive content
mm,
creation because that's just who I am. It's just where I think I flow the best. I'm not real prepared on the front end. I don't really do a lot of post production on the back end.
yeah,
And for me, it's just like this sense of freedom. Like I'm going to express myself, and if I'm showing a mic stand, or if I'm talking about the creator mindset, either way, I'm having a lot of fun, and I put it out there, and it's like, this is what it is. And so, man, for me, that's just, I don't know. I've just always operated that way. So that's why I really love the live aspect of it.
dude. How did you? I know you were talking about you kind of started the fishing podcast, but at what point did you go, you know what? I just want to create content, like, and I can actually make money at it. Like, I don't have to go get a job, right? I don't have to. I can literally just be a creator. Like, what was the spark for you there?
Yeah, man, this is a good question. So I think the first time I realized, first of all, that you could make money creating content was I was doing the first fishing show,
Mm,
and we were like, we had sponsors on the show, but it was mostly like in kind sponsors. I'm like, hey, I know I want to get sponsors. I don't really know what that looks like. So I'm just going to call my friends who own companies in the fishing space and say, hey,
right.
I'm going to put your logo on the screen. Is that cool? And they're like, yeah. And I'm like, yeah, and if you want to send me some product or whatever.
Yeah.
And so that was kind of my first, deal. But then from doing that, we had a company reach out to us and was going to pay us a decent amount of money. Now that's where that first podcast, kind of, my partner and I went separate ways because we didn't really see eye to eye on the business side of it. He was monetizing a certain way that
Mm.
I wasn't making money from, and then I'm like, well, dude, I'm doing all the work. Like, I need a sponsor, and he's like, oh, I don't want this to be a business anyway. And that's a whole thing. That's a whole show about get an agreement with your co-host or whatever. Before I'll just leave that there. But that was when I first realized when someone reached out to us and said like, hey, we want to pay you. I'm like, oh, wait a second, there is something to this. And I had spent a little time in the advertising business, selling advertising. And so I kind of knew, but I didn't really know. And then the second time I started a saltwater fishing show, I knew like I want to build this product to make money. Not just, I want to learn, I want to be educated, I want to help other people, get on the water and figure out where the fish are and how to catch them and all that kind of stuff. But then I want to make this a living. And so it was during the pandemic. I lost my t-shirt printing business basically in like one day, like almost 10 years worth of work when it was like gone. It was just like everyone canceled orders. And so I'm sitting there and I'm like, I don't know what to do. And a friend of mine that's in the fishing world called me and was like, hey, my business is suffering. Like, what can we do? And I'm like, let's just start a fishing podcast, but we're going to get hyper niche. We're going to focus just on the coast of North Carolina. And he'd been doing this already with a fishing publication for almost 20 years. That was another lesson I learned. But so he'd been doing this, so it wasn't anything new. It was just a different medium for
Mm.
him, and it wasn't anything new for me. It was just a different medium. So we kind of brought both of these worlds together and started a show. And I said, hey, we're going to monetize by episode number 5, or we're not going to do it. Like, we got to figure it out by episode number 5. And so we're going to put 4 shows out. We're going to have a product, and then I'm going to go get us some brand deals or some sponsorship deals. And that's what I did, man. We put 4 products out, essentially the show, 4 different episodes. And I went and started knocking on doors, making phone calls, and I just pitched my niche over the size of my audience. So I went to quality over the quantity, and was able to land our first sponsorship deal at like $200 a show.
Nice.
And they've been with us ever since episode 5. We just dropped episode 116 this week.
Wow.
And yeah, man. And we brought on multiple other sponsors, and we kind of pepper them throughout the year and all that kind of stuff. So that's when I did that show. And it was really during the pandemic where I spent all this time building this t-shirt business, and then it all went away. And then I was like, man, I don't, I want to build something I want to do. Like, I want to build something I get up and, because selling a t-shirt's fun.
Yeah.
Cash in the check is fun, but it's not, for me, it's not like, oh, I live to do a t-shirt design, or I live to, get something printed or print something. And so, man, I think that was a big wake up call for me. It was like, all right, anything can go away like that. No matter how hard you work on it, no matter what blood, sweat, and tears, like, life isn't fair sometimes. And so I'm like, I'm just going to sacrifice and build what I want to. And, my wife was on board, and she, I walked in I remember this moment, Chris. Like, I know I'm talking a lot, dude, but I'm getting somewhere here. I remember this moment. I got out of my desk. I have cried literally for almost 30 days after this whole pandemic. March 16th, 2020, I started crying. And so I got up, I walked in the living room, I looked my wife in the face, and I said, honey, I want to make content for a living. That's all I want to do. I want to be a content creator. And she's like, okay, let's do it. And she's a graphic designer. So she's been doing this for years and building her business. And she's been telling me, like, you got to focus, you got to focus, you got to focus. And when you do, it'll start to come together. Even if you don't have the plan, even if you don't know how you're going to create content, you don't know how you're going to make money. And I remember saying that to her. I remember saying, I want to create content. And now 2 years later, that's all I do is I create content. And now I'm not quitting this, I'm not like, buying a Tesla cash or nothing, but I'm making a living. I'm doing what I love. And so I think that's it, man. That was the moment. So long story, but hopefully you can get something out of that, or your audience will.
No, bro, but that's the important part, man, is my bad. I should have cleared my throat before you came back. Man, I think that's the important part, is because, like, it's funny. I posted something today, and I was like, passion versus money. And I was like, what's the actual, for each person, right? And for me, it's passion. Like, years ago when I left a job, I've left a job like multiple times in my career to like go pursue full time, right? And my wife was like, I don't think you don't like what you do, and you look miserable every single day. And so it's like, quit, like, go find something else. And like, somebody actually posted on my thing today, was like, no, it's money, because like you can't support your family on passion. And I'm like, yeah, but what kind of life am I living if I'm making $250 a year, but I hate life,
Well, dude, and I think, my wife told me that. She's been telling me that for years. Sometimes it's easier to risk it versus others. It's easier to stop doing something and start doing something else. But ever since I've started focusing on it, and once again, I didn't have a clear path to monetization. I knew like sponsorship for a podcast, but let's put it into reality. Like, I teach people how to get sponsors. That's part of my business model. But let's put it in reality. You have one show, you don't have that many sponsorship spots. And unless you're a really good salesperson, or you got a really phenomenal podcast, it's not like you're charging a premium price. And, I feel like we do charge premium for our show now, but it's after like 100 and something episodes. And, like, we've really grown the audience, grown the community. And so, in the beginning, I'm looking at it and I'm going, okay, even if I max out every sponsorship opportunity, this is still not anything to, write home about, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
But when I started focusing on it, and it really started to grow in different areas. So there was multiple different streams of revenue. And this is a lesson I learned in the t-shirt world. Is in the t-shirt world, I was like the t-shirt guy. People didn't know that I could make hats and stickers and koozies and all this. I focused on t-shirts, and I focused on the quality of the shirt. And I had all these nonprofits reaching out saying, hey, such and such had this really comfy shirt. And I became known for that in that world. And it was cool because it was paying, but when it was over, it was over. And no one knew I did anything else. No one knew I was capable. And so this time around, I said, you know what? I'm going to diversify. I'm going to, my income streams. I'm going to have 4 to 5 streams of revenue at all times into my business.
Yeah.
And so that came through sponsorships. That came through, coaching and mentoring or consulting. That came through doing Amazon Live. Like I'm doing Amazon Live stuff. I'm doing product reviews. I'm partnering up. I'm doing brand collaborations. That kind of stuff. It comes through another sponsorship for Creating Daily. So I do that Creating Daily show, and people, when you put yourself out there, I'll say this: when you put yourself out there and you're a content creator and you just keep the consistency rolling. And I heard it say, our friend Bradley said it this way on a Clubhouse room the other day. He said, every time you make a video, you make a live, you put a podcast out, it's kind of like an audition reel. And there's companies and there's people that are watching you and they're watching what you're doing. And so when I started Creating Daily, I started going live on 2 different live streaming platforms. And both of those platforms reached out to me and said, hey, we really love what you're doing. We want to make sure you stay on our platform. So we want to compensate you for. So, dude, it blew my mind. I'm like, wait, hold on. You want to pay me to do what I'm already going to do on your platform? I'm already signed up. I'm already whatever. And they're like, yeah, but we want to make sure that you're going to hang with us and we want to compensate you for it. And I'm like, all right. And so now 3 months later, one of those companies, which everybody will kind of learn over the next couple of weeks, is now become the main sponsor of the show, main collaborator. And dude, it just blows my mind that, when you and I didn't even look for that. That wasn't on my radar of monetization. I teach monetization. I teach 4 to 5 ways to monetize, and having a company pay me just to do what I'm doing already was definitely not there, dude. And some of the stuff will just blow your mind when you get into the industry and you realize, like, oh, companies want and need content creators and they're willing to compensate you for it. So yeah. Anyway. Once again, dude, you ask a podcaster to be on, I talk a lot. I apologize.
It's all good, man. That's what. Look, I was reading somewhere, and they were like, the reason I started a podcast is so I don't have to create my own content. Because now I can ask you a question, you run for a few, you run 5, 6, 7 minutes, and now it's like all these clips from this show are going to be Billy talking, and guess what? It's still my content.
That's true. That's true. I'm just going to share it on Instagram. I appreciate it.
Look, there it goes, bro. Dude, so I think one of the things that I like that I heard you say was you were talking about, the multiple streams, right? And, any of the business gurus, all these guys, they always tell you got to have multiple streams. And a lot of people get confused, right? And what you said kind of hit me because you said you focused. And so it was on content creation, mainly podcasting, but you got, the couple things that are still in that space, right? Like Amazon Live, you got all the gear. You didn't have to do anything different. Yeah. And I think people get confused with the multiple streams having to be different, almost like different types of businesses. Like, how do you feel about that? Like, because you technically are a podcaster creator.
Yeah. I say it like this because, especially in the podcast world, people, they go, oh, well, it's a video podcast, a podcast. You have people like getting in fist fights about it. I'm like, dude, it's all content creation. Like, it doesn't matter. I'm a content creator. When people go like, what do you do? I create content. Now it's how do I create content? Cool. I create podcasts and I create live streams, period. Yeah. Now, how do you monetize that? Awesome. I monetize through sponsorships. I monetize through affiliate marketing. I monetize through brand deals. I monetize through my own product. I monetize through membership groups. Like, those are kind of the layout, if you will, of that. And it is like running multiple different types of businesses because my membership for my fishing podcast is a lot more legwork than my sponsorship business. Sponsorship business, pretty simple. Show up, do this, the ad read or play the ad or whatever we got to do. And, it's a pretty cut and dry process. Cash a check. Membership, it's a little more customer service based. How do I log in? I've lost my password. Some of this stuff, especially up front, like can't get it, blah, 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 blah. I got to figure all this stuff out. However, the membership is way more scalable. So I understand, hey, it's the long game. Like it's how do I get 3,000 to 4,000 people to sign up over the next 3 to 4 years? That way I'm generating X amount of revenue. Sponsorships, it's more of a churn. There's people who are going to come on for a little while, they're going to leave. So I understand. all right, I might get 2 or 3 months out of the sponsor, and I got to go replace the sponsor. So, there's a part of that that's always in the back of my mind of creating these lists of potential sponsors. Creating our own product, which I haven't really gotten into this yet.
Yeah.
It's kind of phase 3 of our fishing. I'll just talk about the fishing podcast.
Yeah.
It's kind of phase 3 because we want to build the audience, we want to build the community, which is the membership, and then we want to offer something unique to that membership, to that community. So yeah, man, it is like run, and then Amazon Live is a whole other different deal.
It's its own beast, right?
It's its own beast, and I'm over here now figuring out that process as an individual creator. So yeah, man, I have some collaboration projects, I have some solo projects, but it's like that in every creative industry, I believe, and we just don't know it because we don't really see it.
Right.
But if you think of an actor or an actress or an artist or whatever, an artist may get commissioned to go do a mural on the wall for a big corporation or whatever, or an event, but then they might not get it's not like they're getting a paycheck. They may not get another call for 3-4 months. So they got to figure that out. And so I think that's a part of business ownership. It's part of being an artist. It's part of being a content creator. And that's why they call it ebb and flow. And that's what I always remind myself, and my wife and I remind ourselves all the time. Like, there's some months we're like, dude, we're on top of the world and it's awesome. And then there's some months it's like, are you making any money? Like, I haven't made any money. Have you made any money? But that's key too, to have the right people around you, because we support each other. It's like, okay, it's the calm before the storm. So I know if my wife is not busy, I know if she's not busy in July, that come August, dude, she's going to be wrecked. Like, I know I'm going to have to step up, do dad duty more, do whatever. But the entrepreneur lifestyle, the content creator lifestyle, is really what we chose to do. And it's tough. Like, it's not the easiest walk in the park. We might make it look fancy and put lights behind us and do whatever. Right. But there's a lot of times, man, I go to bed, I'm like, why can't I just have a normal job with a paycheck and come home and drink beers in the carport? Like, really?
Bro, it's funny. Because those seasons, man, and like, you said ebbs and flows, and like I always say, rhythms or tensions, like it definitely is that, right? Because, I'll say this particular season's because I wasn't doing my Amazon stuff. My checks ain't as big as they were a few months ago because I took a couple months off. So it's like, all right, I gotta remember this. I gotta like pay attention. But like you said, having the multiple streams like saves us, where it's like, okay, the account ain't empty, right? But you get that balance, man. What?
Yeah.
Man. Oh, good.
Oh, no. I was going to say, man, I'm right there with you. And what you said there, though, Chris, is like really important that people catch this, because what we're talking about is consistency. It's consistent application of elementary things. And I got to show up consistent and do the small things right. Doing big events, doing a workshop, doing a course, all that stuff is great. But when it's like, okay, I want to manage this membership group, or I need to manage this relationship with sponsors, like, I know if I'm just not doing outreach at all for sponsorships, if all my sponsors today just said, hey, we're out, I don't have anybody in that funnel. I don't have anybody in the, waiting on. I would rather have sponsors waiting on a position to be in than for me to go, hey, I know I haven't talked to you in 6 months, but can you sponsor the show now? Or whatever. So yeah, it's like, it's finding that balance and that rhythm. And that's what, I feel like business owners do well. And then I haven't gotten to where you are, like where I'm so busy, I need to outsource stuff. I see it in my future, but I've not gotten to that level. So I'm still a solopreneur for the most part.
Hey, look, that might be the ebb and flow. That might be why all my money keeps flowing out. I keep hiring people to take on stuff, and I'm like, hold on, I gotta wait. Let me hit 1 million, and then we can hire a bunch of people or something, dude. But it's interesting, man, because you compared it earlier. You said something about advertising, right? And I feel like people miss it and don't even realize, like, they think this creator economy is new, right? The way it is now, it's new. Like, the access is new, but it's not new. Like, for how many years have, rappers and movie stars and all that been getting paid?
100%.
Dude, I went to a soccer game the other day, and I think it was minor league, and I'm like looking at the stadium, and I'm like, it has these huge sponsors, right? It's like Chick-fil-A and Gatorade and Adidas, and I'm like, they're paying money for this stadium? I mean, it may have been 400 people in the stadium of that could fit 10,000, right? It's like, why would they pay for that? But there's
Yeah.
some sort of value in there. And so even micro and nano creators, can make money, right? Like, bro.
Yeah. Well, dude, and I think it's understanding and really kind of setting yourself up and this is what I had to do. I had to get out of my mind, first of all, of selling from my own wallet. I think
Mm,
that's the biggest mistake content creators, anybody make, any
that's good.
business owner ever. Like, I know there's been multiple times I'd be setting up to send a $15,000 t-shirt invoice and I'd be like, man, that's a lot of money. Like, I hope they pay it. And I would like, I hope they got the money. I couldn't imagine, I wouldn't pay this for the, I'd be like going through all this stuff and kind of projecting my lack or my
Yeah.
lack of understanding or faith or ability or whatever. And then all of a sudden, then one day I'm like, wait, I am trying to sell from my own wallet. And what I was doing was cutting my price out. I was cutting me out. That's what I
Yeah.
was doing. I was helping them out, but I was cutting me out of the equation and I was killing my own business. And when I realized that, man, I will go ask for whatever I want now, like whatever. And maybe I overprice it, maybe I underprice it from the get go,
Yeah.
maybe I have no idea. But I will ask for what I want, and then I'll just stay open for negotiation. And that's the
Bro.
thing. It's like I'm not hard on anything. Like, okay, I want $5,000 for sponsor 4 episodes. They're like, well, it's a little expensive. We'll give you $4,000. Cool, I'll take $4,000. Like, let's roll. But the thing is like, first of all, you gotta know your value as a content creator.
Yeah.
This stuff is valuable. I have people walk into my studio all the time and go, wow, dude, this is great. And it's not even set up. It doesn't look pretty. It looks terrible. There's stands and lights and all this stuff everywhere. But to the average person and to the average business owner or the average brand, they don't know how any of this stuff works. They are
Right.
totally in the dark. And so they think that when we do this, this is a magic trick. And that's called value. When I look at a mechanic and he fixes my car that I've just been Googling and I've been busting my knuckles trying to fix, and I take it to this mechanic, he goes, yeah, that's the blah, 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 blah. And he takes his little tools and he fixes it in 5 minutes. That is a magic trick. And we all pay money to go to magic shows. And I'm like, I'm just solving problems for people. I'm solving problems for Amazon brands, for sponsors. What the sponsor, if they could start a podcast and get in front of 20,000 people a month that's in their niche, they
Yeah.
would, but they can't. They
Yep.
are trying to sell boats. They are trying to work on boats. And that's where we got to realize it and really ask for what we want. And that's how you monetize, man. You just go, and it might look ridiculous and you might even think it's ridiculous, but don't sell out of your own wallet. I made that mistake. Huge mistake.
Dude, that's such a good man. That's such a good point, man. I've done it. I've done it before, man, in my DJ business years ago. And it was like, I would always like go for the price. And I'm like, they don't look like they can afford it. And I got with a business partner, my homeboy, Rylan, man. He goes, dude, it ain't your pocket. You throw the price, they either can pay it or they can't. And I'm like, man, but I need money. Like, and he's like, you got to get out of that mindset. You
Yeah.
gotta just go, hey, look, I'm willing to not take it.
You did.
And again, you got to
Yeah.
be good, right? You got to be able to deliver. That's the other piece of it. Like, don't
Yeah.
say
Huge.
five
Yeah.
grand and you can't deliver, but so that's, bro, that's amazing.
Yeah, man. I think, and it's like a lot, even with Amazon Live, it's like I'm doing brand deals. I'm learning the ropes. Now, I'm probably a little cheaper than a lot of other creators on the Amazon platform right now, but I understand. And I tell them this up front, like, look, I get it. I'm just starting out. My audience is small. I'm not getting as many downloads, conversions as the next guy. And so we're going to start here. This is my normal rate. And I
Yeah.
give them that big fat number. And I say, but I know we're new with each other. We're new in this relationship. We're going to start here and we're going to scale up.
Yeah.
And it's your rules. It's your show. It's your content. It's your rules. And so, even if you charge $20 or $50 to do a product video on Amazon,
Yeah.
and then you start crushing it and you're like, oh, wow, okay, I got 25. Here's the thing. I got 25 brands wants to send me product.
Yeah.
Guess what? Now the price goes up because you don't have time to do 25 products a week or a month
Exactly.
or whatever. And then, yeah, so, that's how I play. I mean, everybody starts out cheap because it's fair, because right now I'm trying to figure out my flow with Amazon Live. Now, we go in the podcast world. Yeah, you're paying premium. You want this? It's premium. I know what I'm doing. I've been doing it for 100 and something episodes. I know we can get a return on your investment. Like, let's go. So yeah, man, that's another show, man. We've been everywhere, but that's another show for sure.
Bro. Yeah. I mean, I think that's why, I mean, honestly, that having you on is always like a, hey, we got to do another one because it's only a piece of the creator puzzle, right? Because we talk this stuff. This is the stuff we talk offline anyway. And like, we're always
Yeah.
talking about how to help. And Billy's a pusher. Like the other day, he texted me and goes, hey, how many Shopbo videos? I literally had I
Yeah.
wasn't going to do it. Like, it wasn't on my plan for the day. And he made me, and I was like, he said it. All right, let me go shot two real quick because it's that community. You said that earlier. Is like getting around the right people that are going to help you get to that next goal, man. That's the great
Hmm.
part.
Well, man, and I saw, and this is what really inspired this my content creation journey. I was watching an interview. I'm sorry, I can't remember who was interviewing him, but Mr. Beast was being interviewed,
Mm,
and they're like, "Dude, how did you like get so good at YouTube? Like, how did you become the number one YouTuber in the world? I think in 2021 or whatever." And he was like, dude, basically I spend 10 hours, 12 hours a day on the phone with other YouTubers, and
yeah,
we would like this conglomerate of YouTubers, and we'd all be testing stuff, and we'd be testing thumbnails and descriptions, and they probably didn't have hashtags back then, but whatever it was.
yeah,
And then we were like live on Zoom calls or whatever the platform was, and we were just going, hey, here's what I tried last night, that didn't work. Here's what I tried 2 weeks ago on this video. Here, let's review this video. What do you guys think about this? And they were just honing in their skill, honing in their craft, and then reinvesting that money, those resources back into their product, to their video. A lot of people, and sometimes I wouldn't say myself included, because I've been reinvesting into my business, better camera, like this. Like I always talk about this camera, but to be able to just focus like this is huge for Amazon Live. It's just huge. Like, so I'm like, okay, I got to invest in better cameras that will do that. I got to invest in a better microphone that'll sound better, lights that'll sound better. I literally have a salary, an average US salary of equipment in my studio that, trust me, I would have loved just to take as a business owner and taking my wife on a really nice vacation. But I understood, if I got to reinvest this thing. I got
yeah.
to try something new. I got to try something different, and I can't eat all the seed, man, because I got to plant it and I got to let it grow. So that's kind of my thoughts around that kind of stuff. Is like, hone in on your craft and just be the best you can be at it. You don't have to be Mr. Beast. You don't have
Hmm.
to be Chris Giles. You don't have to be Monty Weaver. You got to be the best you that you can possibly be.
Bro, that's so good, man. And so this is a question we always talk about this, and so this might be putting you on the spot. But like, do you have a vision for where you see you yourself going in the creator economy, or are you kind of like playing it by ear and like seeing what's out there still?
Yeah, man, this is a really good question, because I think about this every single day. I spent 10 months on an island, which everyone thinks that is paradise, but I learned that paradise is a perspective, and it's wherever you want it to be. Paradise is wherever you want it to be, and so if that's in your hometown, if that's on the beach in Puerto Rico. And I was thinking about this while I was down there. I was like, what is the long term end goal? Now, I love helping people. This is one thing that I really love to do. I like it when the light bulb comes on and somebody goes, "Oh yeah, that's cool. I like doing that." So I think my long term goal, Chris, or one of my long term goals, is to have either a facility or an event or something of that nature to really educate people in this whole creator economy process, and really teach them how to do it. Like, but more than that, it's just to say, hey, you can do whatever you want to do. I grew up. My family worked paycheck to paycheck. We grew up super, super modest. Sometimes we didn't have, money to eat. We didn't have, we just didn't have stuff. And, parents were, and still maybe even do that. I don't really know that well, but they might even still live paycheck to paycheck a little bit. But I always knew, like, man, I don't want to do that. I want to figure out a different way. And so a lot of people were doing the education route. They were going to get an education. They were, right after high school. I was a horrible high school student, slept through every class, but there was one class I didn't, and that was a music class. Changed my life completely. And I realized from there that I was creative. I'm like, oh, I tick on a different clock than most people. And so there was an opportunity for me to go to this music school / production school, website development, graphic design. And I went there, and it absolutely changed my life. Like, everything about that atmosphere changed my life. And so long term, that's what I want to create. I want to create that atmosphere where people who don't even know they're creative can walk into a space and go, oh, okay, here's some people like me, man. Like this makes sense. There's, like you and I, Chris, are very similar. Like I can't work for someone else. I can work with someone else all day. I can be like, dude, let's get in here. Let's get on the whiteboard. Let's do the thing. But we're going to be a 50-50 or a 70-30. Like I'm in it. I got to be invested in it. Yeah. I can't be an employee because that's not worth my life, is to be an employee. I can't do it, even for the whatever amount of money. So yeah, man, I think that's the long term is somehow, and I don't know what that looks like, but create something where people can come and find themselves, which sounds super hippie, or whatever, but that's what it is.
Bro, that's all good. That's good vision, man. That's good. I laugh. So you're saying if I offered to pay you $1 million a year to come work at Black Tie Media, and you wouldn't come do it?
I'll do it for 1 year. You got me for 12 months. I'm in.
12 months. He's like, I'm locked in for 12 months.
That's seed money right there, man. I can take that and sew it into something, make it grow.
Huge studio. You could build the whole building at that point, right?
Let's buy this complex. What are we doing? I started my own channel called Mr. Bill instead of Mr. Beast.
You're gonna do I forgot what his little logo is. You gotta do like a bunny rabbit or something, just random, different.
Yeah, dude, bunny rabbit with fangs, like the Mr. Bill. Something I don't know. I think his is. I can't remember what his is. Pretty cool though.
Yeah. I'm trying to think. I was like, is it a tiger? I don't even know what it is. Like a tiger or something? I don't even.
I think so, man. I'm sure it's something. That dude is very thoughtful, so I'm sure it's something that's pretty dope. So.
Bro, that's super dope, man. Look, as always, man, I appreciate the conversation. I appreciate you being one of the first guests on the show. Yeah, because I'm like thinking back. I'm like, I've never hosted you. I mean, we did Weird Ways, and I hosted that one time, but I've never hosted you on my show. I've been on your shows with the S on the end shows.
Yeah, Chris and I, we did Weird Ways like 3 times. And then we were like, wait,
both got super busy, and then it was like...
Yeah.
Or was that Puerto Rico internet? I can't remember which
dude, both.
Which triggered that.
Both. It was both.
Bro. Man, tell the people, man, where can they find you at?
Man, the easiest way to find me is creatingdaily.live. That's probably where you can get in touch. And then billythorpe.live is my newest project with Amazon. So you can go check that out as well. But yeah, creatingdaily.live if you want to connect, or at the Billy Thorpe, which I know is pretentious, but it's the only thing they had with my name in it that was available.
That's funny. Bro, that's so good, man. Hey, look, I appreciate you as always. Obviously we'll be around the internet together in some other room or some other place, bro. But I appreciate you stopping by the podcast. You guys make sure you check them out. The Billy Thorpe. That does sound funny to say out loud.
That sounds funny, yeah. Bro. The Billy Thorpe.
Well, hey, thanks for tuning in to Mastermind Thinks Podcast, and we'll catch you in the next episode.